All right, we are going to pick up this time talking about, maybe if my PowerPoint catches up with me here, social development. Okay, starting off with this idea of attachment. So, we've been talking about cognitive development, and we've been talking about kind of the ways that the brain matures and the way the brain advances and the way that our thinking ties. But, one of the things that we can't forget about is the social aspects. Humans are social creatures, and it starts from birth. And the first socialization occurs through parents. So one of the things that was studied with this is this idea of attachment. And attachment refers to the emotional tie to another person. So in children, attachment can appear as a desire for physical closeness to a caregiver. So the origins of attachment actually started with a research study done by a guy named Harry Harlow with monkeys. And what the experiment kind of suggested is that attachment is based off of physical affection and comfortable body contact, not based with being rewarded on food, which counteracted all of our previous kind of explanations of attachment. And we'll watch the video of this in class, and you guys can see kind of this in action. But basically, what Harlow's experiment said was that, food was not the primary attachment kind of device. It was actually physical comfort and body contact. And there's been a lot of subsequent evidence to talk about the importance of skin-to-skin contact and physical interactions, between parents and children to help ensure not only social development but also cognitive development as well. So there's variation though. So how do they deal with separation? Styles of dealing with separation. Well, a lady named Mary Ainsworth, in further studying attachment and trying to understand the dynamics of attachment, did an experiment called the strange situation. And in this test, how it worked basically is that a mother and infant child are alone in an unfamiliar and or strange room, and the child, when that happens, the child kind of explores the room as the mother just sits. Then a stranger enters the room, talks to the mother, and approaches the child, and then the mother leaves the room. And after a few moments, the mother returns. So it's the part of this that they were studying was what happened when the mother left and then when the mother returned. And what they found is that there's three major kinds of reactions. There's secure attachment, which is most children, upwards of 60%, feel distressed when the mother leaves and then seek contact with her when she returns. Then there's insecure attachment. This is sometimes referred to as anxious attachment. This is where they cling to the mother and don't really explore the environment even when the mother's there. They get very, very upset when the mother leaves. Okay, and then even when the mother returns, they're still fairly upset and they're hard to calm down. And then the last style is insecure attachment, avoidance style. So we have insecure attachment, anxious style, and insecure attachment, avoidance style. And sometimes you'll see this referred to as just avoided attachment, or some denoted some other way. But in this way, it seems indifferent to the mother's departure and return. So they don't really care if she leaves, they don't really care if she comes back. So this is something that these strange situation tests that they look for and they study, and then they say, the ideal attachment is secure attachment, and this means that something's done right. But there's been a lot of controversy surrounding this study, and we'll look at some examples of the study done in class and talk about it a little bit further. Now, what causes the different attachment styles, nature and nurture? Well, one side of it says that, the behavior in the strange situation is really based on the child's inborn temperament. Okay, and remember, temperament refers to a person's characteristic style, intensity of emotional reactivity. So, they say some babies are just easy, and some babies, are calm, and other babies are difficult. So is it really parenting styles and attachment so much as it just is the child's kind of inborn reactivity? Mary Ainsworth, though, believed that sensitive, responsive, calm parenting is correlated with secure attachment style. Monkeys with unresponsive artificial mothers showed anxious, insecure attachment, and training and sensitivity responding for parents of temperamentally difficult children led to doubled rates of secure attachment. So there is some evidence that parents play a role, but on the flip side of that, even the best parents could have kids that respond in one of the more insecure attached ways. So there's still a lot of research being done into this idea of attachment, but we do know based off of Harlow's studies and then Ainsworth's subsequent studies that there is a lot that has to do with physical contact and responsiveness, not just some of the more primal things that we had initially thought. Now, we can't discount fathers. A lot of these studies what you're going to see is that they refer to mothers and they refer to the parenting studies done with mothers, but we do know that fathers count too. Many studies have of the impact of parenting have focused on mothers, like we just said. However, there are a lot of correlational studies that show a strong relationship between paternal and or father involvement in parenting and the child's academic success, health, and overall well-being. So we do know that fathers play a very important role, and that even though we always kind of refer to mothers in a lot of this stuff because historically and just kind of culturally that's kind of how familial things were set up, we can't ignore the impact that fathers have as well. Now, attachment styles are not just about bonding with the parents, okay? So Erik Erikson, who we're going to talk about in a couple days, had this concept of what he called basic trust, and it resembles the concept of attachment, but extends beyond the family into kind of our feeling whether the world is predictable and trustworthy. So Erikson took this idea and kind of said, well, yeah, we have to have this basic trust with our parents and the secure attachment, but he expanded it to life. And everything else. Is the world secure? Are we secure in all of our relationships, not just with our families? And attachment style may be relevant to our ability to manage and enjoy adult relationships, and it may even be relevant to our motivations to achieve and or avoid risks. So we are starting to take this, the kind of historical attachment research, and we're starting to apply it further. We're starting to take it one step further and say maybe there's some stuff with attachment that's carrying over into later parts of our life. So our basic trust and attachment styles determined in childhood. Okay, Erik Erikson believed so. Okay, and trust and attachment styles, are they set by genetics? Are they formed by early experiences with parents? Are they reshaped by new relationships? These are all things that we're kind of asking right now in developmental psychology, trying to understand how trust and attachment are formed and how they're kind of continued throughout our life. Now, some things that we do know. What happens with the deprivation of attachment? If children live without safe, nurturing, affectionate caretaking, they may still be resilient, okay, and resilient means that they bounce back, attach, and succeed. However, if this child experiences severe, prolonged deprivation or abuse, he or she may have difficulty forming attachments, have increased anxiety and depression, have lowered intelligence, and show increased aggression. So we do know that, while there's a fine line, and obviously we have to go back into personality traits and things like that, that severe prolonged deprivation or abuse can still have some very long-term negative effects on child development. Now, another thing that comes up in childhood, kind of through all of this is something called self-concept. Okay, and a major task of infancy may be to form healthy attachments, and a major form of childhood could be to form a healthy self-concept. This is a stable and positive understanding of identity. So by 8 to 10, a child moves from that's me in the mirror and I have skills, preferences, and goals to I have skills, preferences, and goals. This prepares the child for confident success. Okay, so as we move in terms of attachments, early attachment is all about this idea of trust. Okay, and then later attachment is all about this idea of confidence. Now, parenting styles play a role in this. Okay. And we're going to spend some time in class really talking about these, but make sure you understand authoritarian, permissive, and authoritative, okay? Authoritarian parents are the because I said so parents, okay? Permissive parents are the do whatever you want parents, and authoritative parents are the no, you can't do that, but let's talk about why parents. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this right now because we're going to do some activities with this in class. Now, outcomes of parenting styles. We do know that authoritative parenting, more than the other two styles, seems to be associated with high self-reliance, high social competence, high self-esteem, low aggression. Okay, but are these a result of parenting styles, or are the parents responding to the child's temperament, or are they both a function of culture and or genes? Again, this is some stuff we're going to be working on in class. All right, so again, to wrap it all up, the kind of the take-home things you really need to understand with attachment are Harry Harlow's monkey studies. Okay, and you also need to make sure that you are familiar with Mary Ainsworth's strange situation, and you understand secure, and then insecure avoidant and insecure anxious attachment, and then also make sure that the three parenting styles, that you can identify the three parenting styles.